Okay, it's 7 p.m. We can go ahead and get started. So 7 p.m. on Thursday, May 10th. This is the City of Alburnett Council meeting. We'll go ahead and get things going. We'll call this to order. We're going to go ahead. We do the Pledge of Allegiance here in the City of Alburnett. We'll go ahead and stand and take the pledge before we get going. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Clerk, would you go ahead and take the roll call to show we have a quorum?
You betcha. Councilman Minson.
I'm here.
Councilman Sarrazin.
Present.
Councilman Shanks.
Present.
Mayor McClintock.
I am here, thank you.
Councilman Trump.
Present.
Councilor Henriksen.
Here.
Very good, thank you. I also seek approval of the current agenda. I believe we may have an amendment, is that correct?
Yes, we have the renewal of Mike's liquor license. Has to wait a month. His insurance portion is not in yet. Not
Okay,
a big deal.
We'll
Not
strike
big.
item 12B, so it's seek approval as amended.
So moved.
Moved by Trum,
Second.
second by Saracen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We don't have the Sheriff's Department here, so we'll set item 5 aside until they show up, and we'll move back to there. Item number 6 is the mayor's report. I do want to say thank you to all the committees that have served. We'll have an update a little bit later on where we're at with the clerk. Very happy to see again that we're at full council. Thank you to Guy for doing so much with the public works and for the clerk portion. I know we had several things coming up as well as all the other council folks for so much they're doing extra work in getting things done. Also for the fire department, we've had some informal meetings with the building of the new fire station, and I know Chief Graham is working on several things with that as well, getting that project off the ground. So. And the beautification that has been taking place around town. I know that a lot of folks have put a lot of efforts into that. So a lot of things going on, and I want to go ahead and recognize those folks. Also, I know, Bethany, you've been doing quite a bit in the background with the website and those projects, and we appreciate that. That website's a major priority, and getting that up and going is very important. So thank you about that. One thing that it's not an agenda item. I'm not seeking any movement on it tonight or a motion or anything like that. I did print off an item for each council person. This was something that I put out as mayor when I first took over, asking if people would consider. There's two, one more for you. If the council would consider changing the format in which we did things with committees. The previous committees were water, sewer, streets, personnel, finance, and employee supervisors. And I'd asked that we kind of realign those to be more in tune with letting council people take on specific areas with public works and parks and still having, or public safety and things like that. So that outlines each one of those. It doesn't change them greatly, but it does give each council person the ability to focus on one specific area that we can accomplish more things that way. So anyway, that's just something to be thinking about. I will be happy to hear any input the council folks have on that particular issue. And if it looks like something that we can accomplish, then it'll be an agenda item maybe for next month. So that's the only thing I have as a mayor's report. We'll move on to item 7, which is council reports, and we'll go from left to right. Councilman Minson, anything?
I wanted to thank you, Lions Club man, and the school children's support playground thing with the town. Sounds a better place to go. Thank you again.
Councilman Simpson?
I know we're putting attention on the city website. I did meet with Mr. Gibbons earlier this week just to kind of catch up with him where he's at. So he's working on a few things that we've provided, and then I hope to have something to him by the end of the month, and we should have something for the council to see for the next week.
But we certainly will be live by benefit days and some of those things that we're trying to do.
I mean, we're shooting July 1 because that's when our current contract is up. So
Perfect.
we're tight, but we're
Good.
I just wanted
long, cold winter. It's good with the weather and everything cooperated, and it looks very nice. You did an excellent job. Councilman Trump.
Nothing to add. Just, big other than that, this first one is the trip around the town for Mr. Gibbons for the website that we had talked about last week. And if, following in the school, we just won a national award for photography, so we're getting her cheap now before she can.
Very good. Excellent, thank you. All right, that takes us past the council reports. We'll move on to item 8. This is citizen comments for agenda items. This is a time and place where citizens can make comments for items on the agenda. If you have an opportunity to review the agenda, this would be the time for you to do that. If you wish to make comments about the agenda items, I'd ask that you state your name and address clearly for the record, and you'll have up to 5 minutes to address the council on any items on the agenda. Okay, seeing no comments, we'll move on to item number 9. This is again an area for citizen comments. These are for non-agenda items. I'll go ahead and ask for anything from the audience with the understanding that we will address Joe Elsinger with MSA, who was advised that he does wish to talk. Actually, we're going to stand by on that for a moment. I see that the Sheriff's Department is here, so we'll go ahead and pause for the moment, recognize the Lynn County Sheriff's Department for their report.
My name is Deputy Schmidt, I'm with the Lynn County Sheriff's Department. Just kind of scanning over here, it looks like you guys are contracted for 43 hours. We were here for 85.4 hours, and we answered or were on 26 calls for service.
Very good. Schmidt?
Yes.
Sure. All right, thank you, Deputy Schmidt. Does the council have any questions for the deputy?
I have one small item.
Yeah.
We've got this little chunk of First Street posted, no parking 2 a.m. to 6 a.m.
Okay.
And I don't want to penalize anybody who's been at the bar and left their car because they shouldn't drive, but there's a couple of residents of the apartments next door that are routinely leaving their cars parked up here.
Okay.
A little warning once in a while, if you could pass that around.
Yep, we can do that.
I don't want the car towed or anything like that, just a little,
Yep.
hey, you're not, go put it in the lot. They have a lot to park in.
Fair enough.
You know
we
what
can do
I'm,
that.
you
Yep.
know what I'm saying?
I will send out an email for that.
The one other thing is, it is a danger, one of the apartment residents, again, every morning about 8 or 8:30, comes out of the parking lot and never touches the brake until he's all the way around the corner. He totally blows the stop sign coming off of First Street and turning on to Main
Okay.
at a pretty high rate of speed. Black
Okay.
Dodge pickup.
Sorry about the beeping. Okay.
No problem.
Yeah, we can do that.
So, every single morning,
And you said about 8.
between 8 and 8:30,
Okay.
yeah.
Alrighty.
I got one thing,
Yes, sir.
is kids are driving golf carts around town that need to be patrolled, especially with the Naylor edition. I saw a couple tonight on, they were about 10 years old driving golf carts.
Okay.
Any other comments for Lynn County Sheriff?
For reference, we just did adopt state code for golf carts to be used in town, which means 10-year-olds aren't available.
Okay. Yep. I will send out the email with that as well.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Anything else?
Very good. Thank you for your attendance and thank you for double
Thank
the
you.
hours. We appreciate it.
Yep.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Okay, with the sheriff's report now accepted, we'll go back to item number 9, the citizens' comments. If there were no other comments other than Mr. Elsinger, we'll go ahead and recognize you at this time.
Yeah, so I'm Joe Elsinger with MSA Professional Services. Here to tell you that Matt has passed on to another job, and I will be serving as client liaison. I actually have quite a bit of experience with Alburnett, going back to building a well house, and the sewer lining project that happened in 2010, 2011. I've been with MSA for 8 years. Before that, I worked for another consultant with in Illinois, and I came back. I'm originally from Iowa, so I'm taking over as office manager for this year at this office as well. So came here just to introduce myself, to recognize my face. I was involved in Booth Hart Street as well, and I worked off and on with Guy a little bit, kind of behind the scenes. I talked to him about the fire station a little bit. I know you guys are moving forward with planning for that. So, you know, I'd love to be involved, obviously. And if you have a subsequent committee meeting on that, then you have to sit down and understand better exactly what you guys are expecting from a product. Guys kind of briefed me I make a priority of, communication and prompt communication and prompt, service, clear expectations, so, I really appreciate that.
I'm sure each of the council have their own questions, but your cohorts will.
Yes, yes, and this is Ryan Koch. I'm kind of taking him around to all clients in general, because he's newer with us. We just hired him a couple months ago, so he's originally from the area, or Alburnett. He worked up in Wisconsin a while. Wanted to get back here.
3 hour drive.
Yeah.
4 hour drive.
Back to his parents. I guess that's all I got. Just wanted to say hi and wish them the way. Thank you.
Well, the only two things I'd say is the new fire station project, a lot of that will be headed up by Chief Green, so he'll have a lot to say about that, I'm sure. And then, the other thing is, if you're here, you'll hear about it later, but, we'll have an update on our new city clerk a little bit later, but when that person comes on, maybe it'd be good if you
Yes.
stop back again.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was kind of on my agenda. Check in, I could check in with Guy.
Sure.
With, I know, if you want me to stay longer, I can.
No, that's absolutely fine, I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that,
Yep.
so we were gonna be
Yeah,
those comments later. Council questions for Mr. Elston? Very good, thank you for coming, we appreciate it. All right, any other comments from the public? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to item 10, the written reports. We have received your written reports and had an opportunity to review those. I have read yours, Guy, and do you have any other comments based upon the public works written reports?
Yes, something just came up today. We had asked Gary Holsinger, the owner of the building, about ADA accessibility. He got a quote from Dan Sherman back, and he called me today. He is intent that we should pay part of that. I had a long conversation with him today. Dan's quote was $600 to ramp up just to our door, and $900 to do our door and the post office's back door, because it would be one piece, the doors are so close together. So when Gary called today, and Dan related that to me directly, so I know that's what he told Gary. When Gary called today, he's basically like, well, if you want to do it, it's going to be $300 because your portion is $300. And I said, well, Gary, Dan told me that it's $900 if he does both doors. So how can our portion be $300 if we're going to split it? Wouldn't it be $225, half of $450? Well, no, because if we just do your door, it's going to be $600 because he's not going to do anything for the post office unless the post office also chips in. And I said, okay, just playing devil's advocate, you own the property, it's your sidewalk, it's your building, why would you expect any money from the council? His reply was, when we signed the lease, we accepted the building as is. If we want this addition to the building, basically we should feel lucky that he's willing to pay part of it. Because we signed the lease and accepted that the building was okay as it was. And that's the way his lease is written. I didn't have a chance, that came late today, I didn't have a chance to pull the lease out, so. Food for thought, we've got time, it's been this way for a while, we can, put it on next month's agenda after you have a chance to talk to it, or maybe the mayor and I can visit with Gary, or however you wanna proceed is fine, but that just came up today.
So how much does he want again, about
He wants us to pay $300. My thought process is if he gets the post office, if you're willing to chip in, if he gets the post office to chip in part of it, we need to negotiate that number. On the flip side of that, I don't know, maybe we should have our attorney take a quick look at the lease, but on the other side, we will exceed that $300 quickly if we have our attorney review the lease. So,
if there's an accident or whatever, who are they gonna get after? Aren't they gonna get after the building owner?
I think so. Maybe it's worth a phone call to to Brian Fink.
To me, it's self-defeating logic to completely come back and say, you accepted the building in this condition, so you're responsible for everything in it. There could be a million things that goes wrong with this building. And to say that we now accept all liability for anything that goes wrong for the building because we're the leasee doesn't make any sense to me.
I agree.
Or me.
You know,
That's my point.
you know, I mean, that to me is not correct. Also, this original complaint, as I understand, was based upon a citizen complaint to put it in compliance with federal law under ADA requirements. And we were just the conduit to say, hey, this has come to our attention, it needs to be corrected as a service to the citizens. So this very well could have been a complaint that was delivered directly to him, as opposed to coming through us as a service to the citizens of Alburnett, and for that matter, anyone that comes here to see us. I don't really accept the argument that because we're the leasee and we signed a lease for space, that we're responsible. On the flip side of that coin, I do want to work with the owner as well, but I'm just not sure that that includes a financial commitment for something that is clearly the owner's responsibility. However, I'd be open to any comments from the council as well, because ultimately it's a financial commitment that the council would have to approve, I believe, in this case, even regardless of the dollar amount.
I agree with you, Charlie. This isn't a modification that we're requesting, such as putting in, you know, a partitioning wall or something like this. If he had any business in here, regardless of whether it was the city, we'd have to be compliant with ADA requirements, so that's not on us.
Yeah, I'm not asking him to rebuild or recarpet or redo everything at his expense, you know, I mean.
Any other maintenance items, he's replaced the door, correct?
No, he hasn't replaced the
Well,
door yet.
he has
He
intentions.
plans to, yes.
I mean, that's maintenance of
Mhm.
anything else.
Yeah. Should I consult our attorney, I guess is my question, before we negotiate with him? I realize there's gonna be a fee there, but it could be as cut and dried as, if he is required to meet ADA requirements, you need to tell him that. It could spiral into something else, I don't know, but then if it's gonna spiral further, our attorney should be involved and also advise us, it might be in your best interest to pay that $300 and just get it done too. We don't know what that answer is gonna be, but I don't know. I guess my question is, should I seek legal counsel before we go any further, so it doesn't become an argument between the two parties?
I'd be in favor of that.
Yeah, we're gonna incur a cost for the rate of the legal cost, but this could certainly turn into a slippery slope here to where
And this
We need-
may solve future problems too if we have some legal advice
is that the will of the council?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Any other items in your,
Yeah, otherwise, no. If you guys have any questions off from that report, feel free to ask away.
Oh, I did have one.
Yes,
So you had on here about Leesner's doing the street sweeping.
yes.
Did we look into Marion as an option? Is that part of the services that we could leverage?
You could, I can tell you they do not.
Okay, fair enough.
Wheeling wants it. And we're renting another one that breaks down every other.
Oh, okay. Well, good thing I called them then.
Pleasers, yeah.
But yes, maybe
Just
it's
something to
for the
keep in mind.
future.
Yeah,
As we
yeah,
look at
definitely,
these things.
definitely in the fall or next spring. But not this year. We don't have to.
Yep,
But with that being a new agreement, something to keep in mind.
didn't even think of it. Perfect.
Any questions for Public Works? All right, we'll move on to item 10B, which is the fire department written report. I have reviewed it. Chief, you already mentioned that we're gonna be back up to speed, it sounds like, with the vehicle by tomorrow, but any other things to report in your written report? Looks like it was kind of a busy month. Any questions for Chief Graham concerning the fire report for April? Okay, very good. The consent agenda items, we have items A, B, and C on there, regular financial report. Councilman Shantz tells me there's nothing else to add to that. All right, then seeing nothing else to add to it, I'd ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Moved by Hendrickson, seconded by, simultaneously, we'll take Councilman Menson on that. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 12, which is the new business. 12A, review Lefty's beer and wine permit renewal and approval. Clerk.
Yeah, they've got it, they've made all their necessary filings with the state, their insurance and their renewal form it just needs our approval. I'll go into the Iowa ABD website and say that you guys approved the permit, and they're just continue on as usual.
Okay, so the renewal has been properly filed. Let's seek a motion to approve it.
So moved.
Moved by Menson,
I'll second.
second by Saracen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item B has been stricken. Item C, review pirate collaborative sign design and approval.
We don't have them. They said they were gonna be here. They came and asked to be on the agenda, but the two young ladies that were here before, talking
Okay.
about the sign, they were supposed to have met with Todd Wagner from Lamar Advertising earlier this week, and they plan to be here with an example of what they came up with, but
Unless there's an objection, we'll table item 12C at this time. Item 12D is review skid loader bids and possible motion.
We put 25,000 in the budget to trade skid loaders. That was based off of Bobcat's bid at the time, coming in at about 24,000 or 23. I did not have that in writing. I took that over the phone the day before the budget workshop, and turns out he was bidding us a wheel loader, not a track loader. So his number was really no good as far as how we based our budgeting. That being said, I went back through and had all of the bidders resubmit their bids, all except for Case. I'm very leery of Titan Machinery, who is the dealer close by. They're having severe financial problems, and their bid was not great anyway, so I tabled that one. In the process of going through the other four, I narrowed down and put in front of you the three, what I feel are the three best quotes, the Bobcat, the John Deere, and the Volvo, yes, and they're in front of you. Caterpillar's bid came in higher than the rest, and I demoed the machine to get the lift height I needed. They had to go to a larger frame machine, just not cool. Almost too heavy for our trailer, underpowered for the size, just unusable as far as I'm concerned for our situation. So that being said, the three quotes in front of you, obviously you can tell by the numbers that the Deere is the cheapest option. That particular machine is actually up in the shop right now. They brought it out for me to demo. It has the wrong kind of tracks on it is for what I think we need. So you can see I put in writing it's $400 labor to change over. He's just going to swap out the tracks, put the other kind of tracks on it. So that's not a problem. But option-wise, those three machines in front of you are the same. Even though it is higher, I prefer the Volvo for a lot of reasons. First being safety. The Volvo machine, if you're not familiar, is a single lift arm, and the cab is side entry. So that's the biggest issue. You can climb in and out of the cab no matter where the lift arm is. If you need to put a pallet 4 feet off the ground in order to do whatever you're doing, you can safely enter and exit through the side entry of the cab. The cab is larger and more comfortable than the other machines. That design also makes all of the engine components and hydraulic components more easily accessible, and should make maintenance easier and quicker. And so it's my recommendation. It's gonna be more money than going with the Deere. The main reason the Deere is the better deal is because they're allowing more for trade of our Deere machine, and that's obvious. Taylor Madsen is here from Housby Volvo. If you had any direct questions, he asked if it was all right if he came. I said absolutely. So he is here. The Volvo is my preference, but you know, I understand that the dollars are part of it too. The other option we have, I had talked with Dan Sherman and John Airy both. They are both expressed interest in buying our old machine. Both of them have since said that they're not interested. Dan traded one of his older machines off, and John just doesn't want to spend the money right now. The other option we have is to sell our machine outright. We can advertise it and sell it, and probably for sure get a better value out of it than the trade allowance that Houseby is allowing. They have to make sure they're safe with their trade allowance, obviously. It's quite possible we could get definitely more than 20,000 for that machine. I don't have any doubt that we could. Usually municipal-owned machines, you know, bring a higher value than coming from the construction industry and the farm industry. So that is our option. So as far as I'm concerned, we've got 3 machines that all would work. My first choice is the Volvo, the Deere is the second choice, the Bobcat would be the last. But selling the machine outright makes both the Bobcat and the Volvo a better value. The only chance we risk is if we can't get more than 18,000 for our old machine. The Deere is on the ground. I mean, they'd take it back and make sure it was all ready for us, but it is here. We could have it now, you know, and start running it now, even though we're not gonna pay for it until July 1st. The Volvo machine has to be ordered, right, Taylor?
That's actually on arrival for late June.
Late June, so I mean, it'd become close to when we were able to pay for it anyway. The Bobcat, I believe, is on the ground. We could have it, you know, anytime now. We're not in that big a rush, so to me, that part does not matter as far as when it arrives.
Ty, would I be able to pass that information around?
Yeah, absolutely.
I
if you
put
wanna show it to 'em.
some specific details in here for the council.
And also, there's a pretty good picture of what I'm talking about with the side entry cab.
Yeah, I think that's well detailed in here of that, and then specifications done. Then I also put in some highlights of what differentiates where it's moved in with this model. It's moving from a C to a D model, which I think is pretty exciting. And then there's just a nice summary at the rear here. You also see 2 options on an extended warranty.
And this is basically the same size as what we have now.
Yeah, the couple of my criteria was we had to hit the right dump height because our sander sits fairly tall, and we had to be able to dump the bucket. That is why the cat machine isn't working out. Their smaller frame machine, which would be more the size of what we have, just won't work. The geometry doesn't work, the bucket won't tip far enough. So
this includes the buckets and the stuff we need.
we would keep our smooth bucket. Each one of these options, I had them add a tooth bucket, because that is one bucket that we do not have, that I have borrowed and rented before, and we use it often enough. I felt like we just need to have one. So that bucket price is included in what I put on your prices. So all of our other attachments fit right on these machines. That's not a problem. Every other option we have on our old machine is on these machines. So, and ours is very well appointed. So, Chester.
Are the warranties about the same?
Yes. Taylor and Houseby are the only ones that even offered an extended warranty to us. I asked the other 2 about it, and they were like, they're pretty expensive for what you get. Taylor has outlined a warranty, but they all have a year and either a fairly high limit of hours for that year or unlimited hours for a year, factory full warranty over everything. We can talk about adding the warranty later if we want to go extended. They have anything from just extending that basic warranty out up to a complete time, trip, and mileage warranty, where every time they come out to work on it, it's covered almost
Yeah,
completely
you'll-
covered.
I'd done that, then realized that, from a transport standpoint, when you're using larger excavators or wheel loaders, that's more difficult in this case. So one's a little more, has a time trip and mileage in it, is for a 72-month, and then I showed a more conservative one back there that's for a 60-month, same amount of hours, 2,000 hours, but without time trip and mileage, and that saves quite a bit of money.
Unless the thing won't start, I can always haul it to the shop, because we have the trailer to do it. So that kind of throws it out a little bit.
How old's the current machine?
It's an 11. And I feel like this is a pretty good trade interval with the hours still under 1,000 on the 7-year-old machine that we have. I was concerned just because Volvo isn't as prominent as some of the other brands. I was a little worried about resale when we get ready to trade this one. Taylor has convinced me that it will be right in there with the rest of them as far as value goes.
That value's shown in that pamphlet there as
That's
well.
also in there if you need it. The big thing to me, honestly, is the safety factor, the accessibility to service that deer that we have right now. It's tough. You gotta pull panels, removable panels off and set them aside, raise the lift arm all the way to the maximum height and lock them up, and then start working on the machine. With this one, you just park it, swing open the doors, and 2 bolts come out and the entire cab rotates forward, and everything's at your fingertips. Yes, sir.
Are you dead set on a track machine?
Yes. Absolutely.
How often are you gonna be off the road with it? That's hard on tracks, being on the road.
I've got a trailer. I'll use it every time. It's only gonna be snow that we're on the street a lot. I'll haul it everywhere.
And they're not very good in snow.
I was demoing that cat with tracks during that really super wet, heavy snow. No traction issues whatsoever. So, and that was hard pushing.
Secondly, question for you. Do you do lease deals?
We do, yeah.
Can you get those numbers? That's what a lot of cities are going to.
Certainly, yeah.
Could, because, over X amount of years, it tends to be cheaper than buying outright.
Show maybe to like a 3 to 5 year range.
Yes,
We can do that
that's
too.
what we're going to.
We're not gonna put the hours on it, so that's,
Exactly.
We've got, I think we'll go up from that. I mean, I think if in another 7 years, we'll put more than 950 on, just because I think there's a little more going on already than there was before when that machine was bought, and then there's gonna be 5 new houses put in, and that's gonna create more small little things that have to be taken care of, and the hours will go up, not dramatically. I mean, my guess would be 7 years from now, they'd be 1,200 on that.
Yeah, I think they
Yeah.
allow usually like 200 to 300 a year.
Yeah.
Because a lot of places will rent for a year or two and trade it, and they've done no maintenance. They
Mhm.
haven't even necessarily changed oil.
Mhm.
Track maintenance and tires and
Well, absolutely.
So
I-
I'd be curious to look at the numbers.
We can definitely table it another month because, we're budgeted for the July 1st for the next fiscal year.
Well, the next thing is, and this is for everyone, should we put ours for sale? No.
Yeah, that is a big question. Do you want to try and sell it or just stick with the trade value?
I would rather sell it outright. Better value.
I think you're gonna get closer to what yours can be.
I think so too. So good.
And it's not gonna be hard to get rid of.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Caterpillar
Started
offered
with deer
like
basically.
29,000 in trade, but I think they were padding that number because their machine was worth 62.
Yes.
So.
All right, council, there's 3 quotes with a recommendation for Volvo in front of you, and then we also have the option to table it pending the potential sale of the existing city equipment with also information on a lease. Pleasure of council here.
I move the table this and get some information on this.
All right, is that the pleasure of council? All right, so we're gonna table this item pending lease information collected from the Volvo manufacturer for this recommended quote and the potential sale of the existing equipment. Guy, are you gonna take care of both those
Yep.
items?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Would you also make sure this is added either for action or an update on next month's agenda?
Yep.
Thank you. All right, item 12E, motion to approve resolution 05-2018-1. This is a public hearing to amend the Alburnett building code, electrical code, and mechanical code, plumbing code, and property maintenance code. You have the resolution in front of you. I'm sure you've all had an opportunity to read it.
Oh, no, I didn't get a
Oh, okay.
resolution in their packet, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well,
It's
then
just-
I'll go ahead and give it to you. It is a resolution by the City Council of the City of Alburnett to set the public hearing for this at 7 o'clock on the 14th day of June here at City Hall. This is for our other meeting, and that is to amend each one of those. Again, it's to amend the Alburnett building code, electrical code, mechanical code, and plumbing code, and public hearing being set for those items. Do you have any other further comments on that?
Yes, this stuff, Lori was just sending me all of the ordinance changes, so that's why you don't have this in front of you. They are just still receiving, they use Marion's, for example, their property maintenance and electrical code, in addition to the standard code, which is like 3 books this thick for electrical. They're using Marion's guidelines because that's who Vince also uses for electrical inspections, so they're just getting some of this stuff in as well to update theirs. So the point behind this is, if we update to the most current and follow what Robbins is doing, since we're using Vince as our building inspector, we will be on the same page on all these codes. We're past due, all of our codes were from 2012. They need to be updated anyway to show the most current. If we basically follow Robbins' lead, then it's seamless for Vince.
Sure.
And then, once we get the ordinance adopted, then we can take a look at the fee schedule and decide if we want to update our fee schedule to match Robbins, or if we want to stick with what we've got, because that is not really dependent on the code. That is just our preference as far as fee schedule goes. So,
I don't think we're gonna change utilizing Vince anytime soon, so we need to probably
not
be in
until he
conjunction
retires,
with
and
them.
maybe even if they hire his replacement, we'll continue with them. So I feel like that's the best possible option. All these new houses is causing me all kinds of stress with building permits, so I'd like it to be real seamless here if possible, and it makes perfect sense. They're in essence doing the legwork for us and getting all this put in place and just sending it to us. So getting the public hearing in place is step one, and then if we move to adopt it, we'll have to have the 3 readings. We could waive at least a couple of them, but it's gonna take until mid to late summer to get this adopted. If you
When
choose.
can we get copies of this?
Chester, the
No,
code
I mean,
is,
to change it?
oh, I'll send that out as soon as I just got it all in on email. The last of it came in this morning. So I will put together all of it, and if it's okay, I'll email it out to all of you when I get it collected.
It would be kinda nice, you know.
Yes, so you can review it ahead of time if you would like, yes, yes. You can have it within a week, cause I have it all now, so.
Other questions concerning that? All right, then I'd seek a motion to approve the resolution 05-2018-1, setting the public hearing.
Move we adopt resolution 05-2018-01.
Moved by Trump,
Second.
second by Shantz. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Guy, would you make the proper notifications and procedures to make that happen?
Absolutely.
Thank you. That takes care of item number E. On to F, update on the hiring process for city clerk position. I'll reserve some of the comment for the rest of the hiring committee. I just wanted to say that we did complete a process for interviews. That was last Monday. There were 6 that took place, with the option of reserve to do additional ones if we needed to. Based upon those interviews, we didn't feel that there was any other need to move on lower down the list. We did have a top candidate that we felt we could move on to. We would like to go ahead and extend that offer for the hiring of that candidate for city clerk, based upon the completion of her requirements for hire. Those requirements include the background, which doesn't appear there's going to be any issue with, and her pending drug test for hiring. I can tell you that I spoke with her as late as today to make sure that she had given notification and that we could mention her name in a public setting. So it is a young lady out of Center Point named Tracy Rojek. So unless there is an objection, and after hearing the other comments from the hiring committee, I'm hoping to get approval to move forward with the hiring process on that. So I'll leave it up to the other members of the hiring committee to give other comments.
I think you covered it well. So we did the 6 consecutive interviews, and it was nice to get a full picture all in one day, and Tracy was a clear choice for all 3 of us. So, easy to come back.
Let's get her on board.
I'm meeting with her tomorrow to complete the rest of the process to get her hired. That would be as early as June 4th. The only thing that I would ask is, because we have to send out some additional regrets, is that you not post the video until proper notifications are done to the other folks, other than Mr. Hill can go tell anyone he wants to, I suppose, before we get the video posted. But she was aware that it would be made known to the council members and everything tonight, but it looks like you get the preview of the information, so.
So now we're still pending on her getting being ponderable on the drug test.
Correct, and we're gonna try to have that wrapped up as early as next week, but all the other stuff is looking really good. I don't think there's gonna be any issues.
And you said tentative start date was June 4th.
That's pending, that we'll have everything done next week in our 2-week notice and things like that, so.
How deep should I send the regrets? All the way, or outside of everyone except the ones we interviewed?
Anyone not interviewed, I think we would be safe to send
Okay.
those. Once you agree with that, and then we'll
Yes.
deal with the others
Okay.
right after that. And even if you didn't regret, you could tell them that
I
it
could
was
give them an
pending.
update.
Yeah, an
Okay.
update pending that we're moving through that process. I think that would be fine, so.
Okay.
I'm glad to see that process is coming to an end. It's been a long time for me, so that's where we're at. I will need a motion, I think, to go ahead and approve the hiring of that new city clerk, so. But, well, let me say the negotiation and the hiring of the new city clerk, so we can finish the process, so.
Has anybody said anything about the girls that we've got now? Gonna be helping out for a while.
Well, I have told the Robbins folks, their mayor, have a monthly meeting that he attends also, and I've told both the Robbins girls that upon completion of us hiring a clerk, they would said they'd stay on just a little bit to help with that in the transition period, but once we were done, that I would attend their next council meeting and tell them formally, thank you, either do a certificate or something like that, but they will definitely be recognized for their assistance.
I just wanna make sure we got somebody up there to help get started.
Yep.
I spoke with Lori too, now that we know we have someone coming, and I think probably early next week, I'll probably contact Data Tech and let them know that we're gonna need some training, find out what the best path is gonna be, because that could take a while if we need to get someone here for a week to show her around the software. I mean, Liz and Lori can definitely show her around, but they can't spend real time with her, so we're probably gonna have to have a Data Tech representative here, really get her into the system since she's never worked with it before, so. I'll start the ball rolling. We can always call and say, hey, something didn't work out, so don't come.
Check and see if they have any online training as well.
I will. I will.
So that's something she can self-paced work her way through.
Will do. And Liz and Lori both told me that they're more than happy to do what they can to get her started and get her going and be with her the first few times she does all the different parts, you know, that come up, payroll and when we read meters, et cetera. So,
Well, I would seek a motion to continue with the conditional job offer pending the completion of her requirements to hire the new city clerk.
So moved.
Moved by Menson, second by Henriksen. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. I will continue to update the group. All right, item 12G, discuss employee reviews. these are due, I believe, in June is when we start with the annual. Looking at the old form, the only thing I would suggest is that we change it. I did do a tentative one. The old form, I never really cared for it, just because it did ask for things like delegating and team stuff and things like that. So this is an example of one. Would you give one to the guys? This is one that is automated and online. We can use it in PDF. I would prefer this particular form. I'm not asking for approval tonight. Just we need to do it before June, I believe. It's all done with drop-down menus, and it's automated with date calendars and things like that. And it's easy to save once you're done, so we can have a continual record of it. I don't hate the other form. It's just, I think it's unrealistic. It asks for a lot of different things. It's not electronic. It's hard to store and keep. So this is something that at least take a look at. If you want to add or delete to it, we certainly can. So it's a little easier to streamline and do it. Anyway, that's where I'm at it.
So this is just like PDF?
Yeah.
Drop-downs and
Yeah, everything is menu driven at the top, and then as you can check them, and it'll keep track of each one of them, and it's a little easier to function with. Like I say, the other one wasn't terrible, but I think I have one. It just asked for some unrealistic stuff, I thought, that was delegates work appropriately and stuff like that. Some of those things kind of didn't, a team player and stuff. Okay, I get it a little bit, but generally each employee kind of works alone, and I just kind of took some stuff off here and other things that applied directly to what each person does. So anyway, there's a copy of the old one if somebody wants to review it. Did you have comments on the evaluation, or was that just a placeholder to let you know it has to be done June and December?
Yeah, no, that was it, just a little reminder, so.
Okay, so not necessarily an action item, but something to be thinking about.
I do have a question. Do we have any documented goals that we would base reviews off of?
The particular goals in the past, again, this was done by committees or by just general chit chat by the council, at least the 2 years that I was here, were usually set based upon something that was put up there or something the committee member just did. So generally, by the code or policy or however you want to look at it, I would be doing the reviews, and we could set the goals as council or just put them down or base them off there. But I think that's how they've come up with in the past.
Maybe for July 1, we do something a little more formalized so that you have a basis for, I mean, I like the skills listed up at the top or more of that soft stuff, but then when it really comes down to job performance, I feel like you have to have some target to aim at.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. It's hard to, if you put something down too generic or something off the goals, it's pretty hard to say, you know, at this annual to the semi-annual to say, hey, look, you accomplished what you had. Good job, especially if we're going to step grade increases based upon performance reviews or in part by performance reviews or something like that. Annual reviews are not supposed to be punitive in nature, but you can use them for certainly for review or for attaching to job performance in the form of pay increases. So
The goals in be developed collaboratively with the person, or are we developing goals for the person?
well, I think that we could address that either way. It certainly is usually job related, but in the particular case, again, it depends if we align this up with what we were doing. We could either do it as a council that could be set by the mayor, or in this particular case with Guy's position, if we go with the public works person being assigned as a council person, I think that person would be working close with public works and they could set the goals. So I think we could do it any one of those ways or in a combination of those ways.
The only other comment is, the only thing I would say is the definition of excellent, good, fair, and poor.
Yes, and I didn't bring that. There is one that defines each one of them.
I see it on this one, so it just.
Yeah, and I think that was your question initially when you saw it. There is one that defines each one. It's just a little key that comes with it.
back to Josh's question, I don't feel like it'd have to be a whole council to decide on goals. I know where I'm at, I set my goals, manager approves, we're done.
That's
So
what I was,
I'd say that's sufficient, but at least give some kind of target, and it keeps us moving forward. I mean, it's a positive thing.
I wouldn't have an issue with the employees setting their goals as long as they're approved.
Right.
You know, it's like, you know,
I'm not one to dictate, I mean, I don't know what all we've got going on, I mean.
I don't want a goal of, you know,
We've got a lot happening, so it's not
keep
gonna
the
be hard.
office clean to me isn't a goal.
Yeah, but I really like that shark. Exactly.
and develop collaborative and buy-in from the employee.
Sure.
So they're not doing something that's already done to them.
Yeah, well, we certainly have time. I just wanna make sure they're done timely, that they're done in June and completed and painted out to everybody so we know that we've got them, so they don't go by the wayside, because that isn't applicable too, so. Any other questions on that? Any other questions in general? Councilman Vincent? Anything else? No. All right, hearing no other comments or questions, anything, I'd seek a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Moved by Vincent, second by Sean. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.